one thing that came to my mind that I did want to touch on was just when you were younger, before YouTube even existed, would you have considered yourself like a very open person, like willing to share his story with others?
No, not really. Um, I would in one-on-one contexts where I would feel safe,
Mm.
probably just like anybody, but to do it publicly about like here's to talk about our marriage issues and problems. And at that time, that particular video was related to a very public divorce and another YouTube celebrity was going through, and it impacted a lot of people. And so we talked openly. We're still married now, thankfully, almost 15 years now, but, 7 kids later. We had 7 kids in 8 years somehow.
Wow, man.
But, yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't put myself in that category, but I guess social media has kind of shifted for me where I don't think about it as they did back then, which back then it was certainly like people were confused about what it was. It was like, is this a platform where we present ourselves like traditional media and broadcast media, or what is this? And we've since have learned that, social media is this new different thing, and it's not about a presentation. It's about having a conversation. Broadcast is like in movies is clearly one to many, and everyone understands that, expects that. But on YouTube and social media, it's supposed to feel like one to one, even though we all know that it's not, but it's supposed to feel that way. And that's, I think, where that is more comfortable for me, the one-on-one. And I think when I think about it that way, it ends up feeling that way for the viewer, which was part of the success.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I had noticed from like going back into the archives as well, is like it you very much have approached YouTube as just focusing on just the single audience member, right? Like I think so many people these days are, especially like if they're starting on their creator journey or if they're like middle of the way through, they're like, how can I become Mr. Beast with like 50 million subscribers? But like it's almost better. It's better, I would say, and I'm sure you might agree with this too, to kind of think about like the individual person, like who's just talking to
Absolutely.
one-on-one.
Yeah. And for a lot of people, they think that their goal is to be in front of as many people as possible. But really, if you have a more business mindset around your channel, a mindset that will make it more financially sustainable in the long run, then it's not as important that you're in front of as many people as possible. It's important that you're in front of the right people. It's better to be in front of 10 of the right people than like 100,000 of the wrong people. Because especially if you have a product or you have a service or you're developing like a Patreon page or YouTube members or whatever the case may be, you want those people to make a transaction with you of some kind. You need the right people. And as we consistently see over and over and over again, that the people who make the most money and the most successful on YouTube from that standpoint are not always, actually are the bigger channels are more the exception, that who make, like I have a friend of mine, I was actually talking with her earlier today. She has 1.6 million subscribers and makes like $800 a month right off of AdSense. So people think that bigger channels make more money, but it's not true. It's more about the business model. But I think I'm off track from what you actually asked. Sorry.
It's okay.
I just went way off in left field. You're like, whoa, Tim. Okay, that's all right. Bring it back.
No,
now.
man. No, I love it, man. This is where I love podcasts. I love that we launched this podcast because I love like the conversations to kind of just meander into different spaces that we don't even really intend to go, but they could be really good spaces, right? And so one thing you bring up too, and we had talked about this like a little bit before we started recording, is we have a mutual connection. You're friends with Owen Hemzath. Owen Hemzath is somebody who has appeared on this podcast, and I spoke to Owen on one of the early episodes of this podcast about being a smaller YouTuber and how he's kind of championing that cause, because even Owen himself, his YouTube channel has about 60,000 subscribers, but he's doing really well. Like he's got enough people, not necessarily like a massive enough people, but enough people.
Yeah.
The right people to work with and help them in their own journeys as they try to become creators themselves.
Yeah, that's mostly true if you got something you want to sell. Now, if your business model is like a media company model where you're basically selling your audience's eyeballs to advertisers, then having the most eyeballs makes this more sense. But even then, you can command a higher fee for sponsorships and for brand deals if you have a specific targeted audience as opposed to just a really large broad audience. So because most of the time these advertisers want to be like, they know who they're targeting and who they're going after and who their customers are. And so if your channel is like just squarely just nailing that first time mom audience, for example, and let's say you have 100,000 of those, that might be more valuable than 1 million of just like generic, like some mom, some dad, some kids, some adult, like, and it's just like, I don't really, just a hodgepodge like that. If there's a brand like P&G who's trying to sell diapers to, like, they're going to come and work with you all day, every day over the 1 million subscriber channel who's just got a generic audience. So it's almost always beneficial to focus on the right people and not just the most people if you have a business mindset. If you just want the internet to stroke your ego and make you feel more popular, then go after the most people. But even then, it's not going to be sustainable long term, because if you're reaching like a really broad general audience and just trying to get as many people as possible, it's usually that community that doesn't stay solid for a long time because there's not enough core beliefs and shared beliefs that tie them together and make it like, I really just need to keep watching everything that this person does. So the brand ends up being too broad and then attracting like nobody. So there's a lot more to unpack there, but yeah, it's kind of how we think about being in front of the right people and not just as many people as possible.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching this excerpt of the Videocraft show presented by Video Husky. If you're a content creator that struggles to organize scripture ideas for your videos, I've got a resource for you. You can get a copy of our free script template. Using it can help you structure your videos and save you hours of time from filming in the process. To get it, all you have to do is just scroll down on this video, find the link in the description, and subscribe to our email list. From there, it'll get delivered straight to your inbox right after you sign up. And by the way, if you're enjoying these videos, can you do us just a quick favor and hit the like button before you go? And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel too, to stay up to date with all the content that we're creating here on this channel. And finally, be sure to tune into the Videocraft show presented by Video Husky on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. We've got links in the description down below. If you want to watch or listen to the full episode, just tap the video right next to me over here, and that'll take you to the entire episode in which this excerpt is from. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.